Today I have a PP19 WARZONE class setup for you guys, and as you can see, of course, it's level 49. Had to level it up all the way and test out all the attachments that the WARZONE does come with, just so I can assess which attachments are actually worth putting on this weapon. Now, one thing I will say right off the bat that I really like about the WARZONE, it's got the highest damage out of all the SMGs out there, and number two, it has a really large magazine that it comes with by default. Now, as far as damage goes, I did test this out in a private match. So with no attachments, it takes about 3 shots to kill from 5 to 10 meters, then 4 shots to kill from 15 to 20 meters, and then 5 shots to kill from 25 to 30 meters, 6 shots to kill at 35 to 60 meters. So this already is pretty good for an SMG compared to the other ones in the game. Now, the only issue that I have with the WARZONE is that it has slight recoil when you're engaging at range. So for the muzzle, I'm using the compensator. Now, it says here it expels gases upward to aggressively fight muzzle climb, and the pro is recoil control, and you do get 2 cons, which are aim down sight speed and aiming stability, but we're not going to worry about that because we do have other attachments that totally negate that. Now, there is also another attachment called the 8.7-inch steel. It also gives you more recoil control. I wanted to see which one was worth putting on my gun, the compensator or that barrel. So I did a test. I did a comparison side by side. Now, as you can see, the first two are very identical. The fact that the barrel does not reduce that recoil like it says it does, it's actually a useless attachment in my eyes. So there's no really real point to use it if it looks super identical to an attachmentless WARZONE. Now look at the compensator. Look how it stops at a certain point and it just stays there. It's very consistent at that one point. Notice how much tighter that bullet spread is between the bullet travel when it goes up that wall. It's a lot more tighter, a lot more precise, and that is the deciding factor why I chose the compensator over the other barrel that also does claim that it gives you recoil control. All right, so moving on to barrel. So I'm using the 8.7-inch polygonal barrel. Now, I did mention the steel earlier in the video, but because the recoil control does absolutely nothing, there's no reason why I should even use this setup, especially it comes at the cost of 2 cons versus the polygonal. You get the damage range and you get the bullet velocity with only 1 con of your aim down sight speed. So of course I needed to test this out. Does the damage range actually work? So with the polygonal, it's 3 shots to kill from 15 meters and 4 shots to kill at 20 to 25 meters, 5 shots to kill at 30 to 35 meters, and 6 shots to kill to 40 meters. In conclusion, this attachment actually does work to some extent. So again, this helps increase the overall viability and optimization of this weapon by including this attachment. If you want to take it a step further and reduce those shots to kill, make sure you're using stopping power as a field upgrade. It's 2 shots to kill from 5 to 15 meters and 3 shots to kill from 20 to 35 meters. And just for testing sake, it's 4 shots to kill from 40 to 7 meters. And that's not even bad at all, especially with how much ammo you're given in every single mag. This is definitely a really great setup to use. So I highly recommend putting on stopping power and combining it with the 8.7-inch polygonal attachment to optimize that 3-shot kill potential. All right, so moving on to laser. We got the TAC laser. It increases your aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and aim walking steadiness. Now, it does have a con of your laser being visible to enemies. You gotta make sure not to really ADS down long lines of sight too long, because what happens is if there's enemies around, you're going to be able to see your green laser flickering around and they're going to trace that back to you, and that's going to expose your location, making it easier for enemies to find you. If you want to maximize the potential of this attachment specifically, make sure you're using the weapon as intended. You got to take it up close and personal. That's why I give you guys the data of how many shots it takes to kill from different ranges, so you guys get an idea of which ranges are the most effective for this specific weapon. And that brings me to my next attachment, which is the Corvus Skeleton Stock. Now this one is really great attachment right here. Now the aim walking movement speed is very important because it allows you to strafe left and right, making you a much harder target to hit for the enemy. And number two, the movement speed. Yes, your mobility is already good as is because you're running with an SMG, but to further increase your movement speed and just be as fast as possible and move around the map quicker is going to give you an advantage over your enemies who are using much larger weapons. And lastly, your aim down sight speed is increased as well, and this is important to get that cracked out aim so you can snap onto enemies a lot quicker, and this is very important. If you take out attachments on the Bison without the aim down sight speed, you'll quickly notice a big difference in the movement speed and ADS speed. It's a very big difference. So for perks, I have no perks. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but for my last and final attachment, we got the rear grip, which is called the stippled grip tape. This is a must-have in my opinion. I always use it on almost every setup that offers this attachment right here. It allows you to aim down sight a lot faster, but the biggest reason why is because it comes with a sprint to fire speed increase. Now this is important, especially because we're using an SMG. We're playing a lot more aggressive, we're flanking around the map, we're playing smart. Being able to fire our weapon a lot faster after a sprint is going to be super important, since again we are playing aggressive, we're trying to get into close quarter combat. So having this will give us the upper hand and being one step ahead of the enemy versus the person who does not have this attachment on. All right, so moving on to secondary, I don't really have a preference for a secondary weapon. You could always use whatever you want. I don't really use my secondary, not too often. If I ever need to, is because I'm out of ammo for my primary, but that's not going to be the case with the Bison because of how much ammo it has and the perk setup I'm about to show you real quick. All right, so for perks, for perk number one, I'm using EOD. How many times have we died by claymores, proximity mines, C4s? You know, all those stuff are really annoying deaths that we can avoid. So that's why there's a perk like EOD that will allow us to survive and take less damage when it comes to explosives in the game. Now for perk 2 is Ghost. No question, never run without Ghost. It's so easy to get UAVs in this game, and intel is everything. Minimap does not work the same way as it once did in previous Call of Duties because the enemy fire does not show up on the minimap. So that makes the UAV that much more valuable, and that's why Ghost is super important, because when they call in UAVs, your location is going to be pinged on their compass and on their minimap, exposing your location and making you an easy target. So always run Ghost. Ghost is super important. All right, so for perk number 3, I love the perk called Tracker. Tracker literally shows you the enemy footprints, and this is especially great for aggressive players who want to run around the map a little bit more and play more aggressive and flank. So for me, I personally enjoy flanking. I like surprising the enemy and outsmarting them. So being able to do that requires a lot more intel. It's a lot harder to predict enemy movement. So having something like Tracker is going to be able to literally illuminate enemy footprints around the map as I'm moving along and show me where there's enemies in the area that I never knew that there were. All right, so let's get into my specialist bonus setup right here. I like running the perk specialist because it gives me all the perks in the game after I've gotten a certain amount of kills, and I'm that much harder to kill because I've basically got all the perks in the game all in one, and that's why I enjoy running specialists. Now for at 2 kills, I'm gonna get my scavenger. Now the reason why I have it at 2 kills is because I want to be able to replenish my ammo as soon as possible. Then at 4 kills, I have hardline. Now some people have an issue with this. They say like, yo, how are you using hardline when you're not even using kill streaks? You know, well, first of all, like, you're not paying attention to the video because I clearly explain that you earn your perks a lot sooner than you would then without running the hardline. All right, you don't need to use hardline just because you're using kill streaks. If you look at the more info section, it literally shows you reduces specialist perk cost by 1. So that means that at 5 kills, I'm gonna earn my battle harden, and then at 7 kills, I'm going to get my specialist bonus perks, which is basically all the perks in the game plus the weapon perks called recon and sleight of hand. So that's why having hardline in my specialist is important to me, because of those reasons right there. And with how fast the time to kill in this game, that one less kill could mean the difference between you getting all your perks versus not. So to me, that's just the way I see it, and why I choose hardline to be at 4 kills versus scavenger at 2 kills, because scavenger, I still want that ammo. All right, so for my lethals, I'm using the C4. I cannot stress this enough, man. Using the C4 is not only fun, but it's also convenient. and also effective. Now, the reason why I say it's fun is because you can run around with it, especially when you're rushing around with the Bison. You're rushing around, you're in a gunfight, you guys hit each other, both of you are recovering, busy reloading your weapons and stuff like that. Well, you know what? I'm not going to wait for the guy to do all that. I would rather just throw my C4 while he's still hurt and recovering himself and just blow him up and get that kill and gunfight over with. Toss it in a window, kill somebody camping. Or at times when you're playing domination, you could throw it on a flag and destroy whoever's trying to capture the flag really easily. And it's just really fun, and it's just so satisfying getting those kills. Now, I do get some comments of people asking me like, yo, how do you detonate the explosive while it's in midair? Well, you know, all you got to do is just toss it in midair and double tap square whenever you feel like exploding the C4. So that's pretty much how you do it right there. But again, lethal is all personal preference. Use whatever you want, use whatever caters to your playstyle. All right, so for tactical, I'm using stim shot. This is very important, especially since we're playing aggressive, up close and personal. A lot of enemies coming. You're too scared to run because you're hurt and you might get popped in the back. But if you pop the stim shot and then you sprint, it gives you a lot more confidence to get out of there. Or if you're in a situation where you're in a 1v1 and you and the enemy are both recovering their health, if you've got the stim shot, you're going to recover a lot faster, and then you can ambush that guy a lot quicker before he could even recover and take him out. So that's why I like stim shot. Is very great, and make sure you use it at opportune times. Just because you get hit once from a distance doesn't mean you should use it right away. You know, use it in very tight situations. Just don't feel comfortable and your health is very low. All right, so that about wraps it up for today's video. I hope you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate if you dropped a like on this video, and make sure to subscribe around here if you're new. Make sure to turn on notifications as well so you can find your way back to the channel for more videos just like this. And I will see you guys in the next video, man. Peace.